Yeah, that's the main quarter.
So you could probably check with Mary Laura.
Did she say anything?
She said, oh.
Hard to talk to her.
All of you here today. As you know, when Mooresville celebrated its centennial in 1973, a time capsule was buried, and the process that the time capsule could be affected. It was exhumed and laid at rest for 2 years, and now we're here today to go ahead and rebury it. We have several folks here today to share their thoughts and reflections about Mooresville, its history, and the community. But before that, I'd like to just share a thought that I came across, and maybe you've seen it too. It's a quote by Alden Whitman, and you may have seen it if you've been to Grandfather Mountain in their museum. It's prominently displayed, and it's something that we can all kind of live by and go through when we think about historic preservation. He writes, "Our ideals, laws, and customs should be based on the proposition that each generation in turn becomes the custodian rather than the absolute owner of our resources. And each generation has the obligation to pass this inheritance on to the future." So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first speaker, and that's Mr. Robert Brawley.
Just talk. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity of being here today, and when I was asked to talk about things that we remember, I really wasn't sure what to say. I was expecting Sarah Hare to be here so I could tell everybody that she knew more about history than I did. But my wife said that might make some reference to age, and I shouldn't do that. But in 1973, when this was buried the first time, that was a year after I'd gotten married, and with a family to raise, we've watched as Mooresville has developed and grown. We've done it by working together. We have now job opportunities. We've got a bright future. Optimism is everywhere I go. I see optimism in what's going on in our community. And thinking back, I remember when we had 3 theaters on Main Street, and that was the only place you could go for recreation. If you were getting out of high school and looking for a job, you had a choice. You could stay home on the farm and pick corn or cotton, or you could come down to Mooresville and get a job in one of the textile mills picking cotton. Either way. Today, as I said, we've got all kinds of golden opportunities. We've got a bright future to look forward to. Looking out, everyone here has been a part of it. And we appreciate what you brought to Mooresville. We appreciate Mayor Knox, the things you've done in getting us moving forward. And I am glad to see a written or concrete evidence of what our history is all about that'll be in our time capsule. I do appreciate it.
Bring up our mayor, Bill Thunberg.
Miles, thank you very much. And I'm glad to see this group of people out here today. I want to recognize Mayor Joe Knox, Mayor Emeritus of Mooresville, and thank him for being here, and his lovely wife, Liv. And recognize former Mayor Al Jones, board members Danny Beaver, Thurman Houston, Mac Herring, and Mayor Pro Tem Mitch Abraham. Did I get everybody? Let's see. I think I got everybody. And Town Manager Jamie Justice. So we're glad to be here. And Mac, I want to give you a personal thank you for really making this happen with your memory of the fact that that time capsule was buried. But Mooresville has a rich history, as Mr. Brawley alluded to. But that history is the foundation for the future. And as I look around me and I see these children standing here, I really really get a feeling for how bright our future really is in Mooresville. And I hope these children and older folks too can stand on this history and take that history and make it a part of what they are and helping us build this community, because we're only as good as that foundation that we're built upon. And Mac and Miles, I want to thank you for reminding us constantly what that foundation is. And I want to congratulate you, the citizens of Mooresville, on the future that you have and the fact that we're cognizant of our history and what got us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miles Atkins with the Historic Preservation Commission. I don't think you said who you were. When this thing went in the ground, I was in the 5th grade. It was an exciting time in the town of Mooresville. There were a lot of celebrations. Mayor Knox presided over many of those. Bob Annan was chair of the Centennial Commission, and there were many things to remind us of the town that we came from, to point to the town that we are, and to point to the town that we will become. A lot of that has come to pass. This time capsule was placed in the ground with the intent of taking a piece of history, locking it away, going back in 50 years and looking at it. Even the best of intentions cannot preserve history. Libraries can burn, such as the great Alexandria Library of the ancient world. Museums can crumble. People can die, and their stories go untold. Or people forget the significance of events past. Not even our town's attempt to freeze time in the artifacts and the documents of 1973 for the next 50 years. The following I'm getting ready to read is an excerpt of a letter placed in the reburied time capsule written by Andy Poore, curator of the Library of Special Collections, member of the Historic Preservation Commission, and vice president of the Mooresville Museum. And what I'm about to tell you is sort of sad. To whom it may concern, this time capsule that you have opened is the second capsule that was placed here in 1973 by the citizens of Mooresville. In 2006, due to an expansion project of Town Hall, the original time capsule was unearthed. And on May 19, 2007, the town of Mooresville, under the direction of the Historic Preservation Commission, reburied the capsule that you have opened. Unfortunately, the items you see before you are not all the items that were placed in the capsule of 1973, but are only a part of that original collection. Unbeknownst to the town and the citizens of Mooresville, the original capsule, an unsealed concrete vault, was damaged by water, mold, and dirt. What items could be salvaged were placed in this capsule, reburied. In addition to any papers, letters, or other items that could be saved to the best of our abilities, and will be placed in a strong box in the vault located in the Water Department of Town Hall to be opened with this capsule. Any inventory of these items will be kept at Town Hall when the special collection and the special collections for use when the time capsule is opened. The town, the Historic Preservation Commission, and others who have been involved in the saving and reburying of this time capsule have done all that they could to the best of their abilities. We are sorry that such a loss has occurred and that so much love, time, and history was destroyed by the act of time. We hope that future generations will look at this as an act of love and not destruction and a part of what was saved. Sincerely, the town of Mooresville and the Historic Preservation Commission. Yesterday, the town staff knew that the concrete vault had been cracked. We'd known that for the last 2 years. The plan was to remove the inner vault, place it in a new vault, which you now see, and simply rebury it. So when they opened the lid of the cracked vault, they saw that there was some damage. The documents that they could are being worked on at the library by Andy Poore and the special collections But the artifacts and other items that were undamaged are in this vault to be opened. We won't divulge what those artifacts are, but just to let you know, it's not as we all thought it would be, and we did not know this until 11 o'clock yesterday. The time capsule had been tucked away in the ground for future generations, and like much of mankind's history, it has been lost forever, and the contents will remain a mystery. History needs to be preserved not simply by burying it, but by inventorying it and making it accessible to all. The loss of some of the contents of this time capsule serve as a poignant reminder that we need to take stock of what is important to us and to pass on through multiple vehicles and preserve the artifacts and the documents and the events that give importance to the present so that the future will understand. The Mooresville Museum and the Special Collections Department of the Public Library are current attempts to, in this present age, to inventory, document, provide learning opportunities of this region's history. As a town commissioner, and as a local historian, and as one who so dearly loves this precious town and its history, I implore all of you to get involved and to get others involved in local efforts to preserve and learn from our past. The Mooresville Museum, Friends of the Library, and other local groups such as the Children of the American Revolution, the DAR, the SAR, and the UDC are organizations that help preserve the past, and they seek your support and your involvement locally. We need to hold on to a piece of our past. Our town in 1973, during its centennial celebration, made a sincere attempt to save a piece of its heritage. While some of the uninventoried contents of this capsule were lost, may the knowledge of this loss encourage you to help in current efforts to recover and rediscover our past. This is how we learn and work together and move forward to a brighter future. And that's what this was all about to begin with. Some documents are lost, but not our interest in the past. Miles?
Thank you, Matt.
A lot of it's in this book, though, for sale downtown.
We have one last person we'd like to address, and that's Andy Ford with the Special Collections. If you could, please give him a round of applause for all his efforts.
A lot of it.
Well, I'm not sure what to say or anything, but well, I just got here, so well, okay. On the time capsule, what? Well, yeah, okay, I can do that. Well, no, what we're trying to do at the library through the Historic Properties Preservation Commission and the museum is to try to save the history, heritage, and culture of Mooresville in southern Iredell County and all. And we've been off to a good start, particularly with the museum and the library. We've had great town support. We've had great community support. We've had wonderful people coming forward and offering to help volunteer and so forth and to donate items to both the museum and the special collections. So we're very happy that the community is taking an effort in what we're trying to do. And hopefully one of these days we'll have a museum and a local history collection that rivals the Southern Historical Collection and museums of Charlotte and so forth. And I think we can do it. So but I'm glad to help. I'm glad to do what I can and be a part of all this. So I'm down at the library. If you ever have any local history questions or whatnot, or want to get involved with the museum, just stop in.
See our booth downtown.
Yeah, or see the booth downtown. And all. So, but that's what I'm here for.
Thank you, Andy. In addition to Andy Ford being on the Historic Preservation Commission, I'd like to also point out to you two other members that are here today, and that's Barbara Erskine and Mary Morrow. So on that note, we'd like to thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing in this event. And I'd like to ask if Mayor Bill Thunberg could do the first shoveling of dirt, commemorating commencing our burying of the time capsule once again.
The commemorative shovel of dirt.
And if any other commissioners, Commissioner Beaver. We good?
Back, come on.
Mr. Houston? Mr. Mitch Abram? Pastor Robert Bawley? Mayor Al Jones? Barbara, what's your yeah. Erskine. Andy?
Let's start on it easy. Put it down.
And Miles Atkins.
There you go. Yeah.
In a closing note, let me point out that history is not always as we remember it. It is not always as it's told to us. We were told, and I've always remembered, that this time capsule was an inner vault that was sealed inside of a concrete vault. In reality, what we found out yesterday is that it was just in a concrete vault. There was no double seal. So remember this, and remember all your history, and take a look at it. Part of how it is special to you is in the way that you remember it. And there's myth, and there is fact, but there's significance and importance. So take your history and pass it on. That's what we're doing today. Thank you. And the town staff, especially Building and Grounds, for all of their effort in recovering it and in storing it, and in the attempt to place it back today, we want to thank the town staff. Their efforts go above and beyond serving the payroll of Mooresville. Their efforts are on behalf of all the citizens of the town of Mooresville in whatever function they have, be it police or fire.